Yeah, Beit Nun, Innit Records. You may be aware that I've just dropped a 20-track compilation. What I'm going to do is give you a quick breakdown and a bit of an insight into all the tracks on Where They Are is Volume 2. The project itself has been a 2-year process from start to finish, but it's only been the last 6 months that I've really been knuckling down to get it done, put out. It's been obviously quite a while since Volume 1, actually 5 years since I put the previous volume out, so yeah, it's about time that I got something out really.
So how did the Big Taj intro come about?
I've known Big Taj a few years actually. First got in touch with me back in 2007 I think. He hit me up for a verse for one of his demos. Did that for him, and I've worked with him previously on a few of his tracks as well. Hooked up with him a couple of times, proper sound guy,
right.
And I needed an introduction for the project and I thought I'll get in touch. And he's just...
It was kind of something that he wanted to put to you, or was
yeah, I mean,
else?
obviously he's always wanted to do something on one of my releases and everything, but with him being a beatboxer, there's not really a lot I can really do. You know, I can't really can work with him. So.
And was it a case of that you were aiming for it to be an intro, or it's just something he put down and you heard
no,
it? Like,
no,
that's my intro.
I said to him, I just hit him up. I said, "Do you want to just do an intro from the CD?" And that's what he came back with. So.
Beit Nun, where the art is Volume 2.
A reintroduction then, the first track, tell us about that.
A reintroduction speaks for itself really. It's just a reintroduction of me after taking obviously a break from solo stuff for a couple of years. I came back and just wanted to come back with a bang, sort of a boom bap track, one big verse.
And it is a banger.
Yeah, well it's one of my favourite tracks.
Who's it produced by?
It's produced by Nos, who is a member of Pedigree Chumps. You might be aware of what they've done. Previously, Nos is a good mate of mine from Stockport, only 9 miles per road. Yeah, he sent me the beat, and it was just perfect for the intro track, the first track of the release. And as I say, it's an introduction to people who haven't heard me, and to people who have. It's a reintroduction, a reminder of what I'm about, basically.
I've done radio, I've done shows by myself, I've shifted thousands of records and no one has helped. I've had some top reviews, done a lot of interviews. All of this says a lot about me, just like my lyrics do. And everything I do, you can tell that I think it through. Cause I will never cut corners or take the quickest route. I'm still improving too, I don't plan to peak for a long time. You've got yours, now I want mine, some other side.
Third track's Still.
Still was the last track I recorded for the project. It was a track that it was the only track I needed just to finish the project, I thought. And it's a pretty braggy battle type track. I've been sent a beat batch off Wizard, who in my opinion is one of the best producers out there at the moment.
Yeah.
And that track just stood out for me, and I just wanted a 3 verses, 3 chorus track. And it is what it is really, it's a catchy slammer.
Bars.
Yeah.
No, still dedicated, that's something that's never changed. When I put the pen to page, gonna get a well done. It's the least I deserve, I'm known for getting deep in the verse, and now I need to be heard. No, still dedicated, that's something that's never changed. When I put the pen to page, to give me a well done. Back on the music, as ruthless as ever, still skip, but never not done this for pleasure.
So the next track's Keep It Real with Drunken Master and ROB.
Yeah, that track was produced by Ill Skills, who I did an EP back in 2008, Dutch producer. I obviously hooked up with Drunken Master and ROB for this, with it being the type of track it is. It's a pretty tongue-in-cheek track, and those two are both comedy style rappers from what they've done previously. ROB's obviously worked with Chris Lees on the Day One Scoundrels release, and Drunken Master is the latest addition to Innit Records. So I wanted to introduce him on the record as well, and it's basically about staying real to yourself, being real to who you are, but in a tongue-in-cheek way, so it's not the cliche, keep it real.
I don't need a microphone booth for stage of a set, or a gang of rude boys to enhance my rep. All I need is a pen, pad, a can and a spliff to show you right now and right here's where hip-hop lives. All the kids acting wild, thinking grime is the way. Little pricks, man, I won't give them the time of the day. Dropping bars over beats that are whacking and whack. White boys losing culture, acting blacker than black.
The fifth track is Words with Sonny Jim and Robson Bad Bones.
Yeah, Words, I recall we did last year. It was a beat Wizard sent me that I just thought was a slammer, and that I wanted 2 guest verses on there. I'd spoken in the past with Sonny Jim about doing a track, probably 2 or 3 years ago, and it we never came about doing it, so I hit him up again, said basically, do you want to get this done? And yeah, he loved the beat, got his vocals down. Once I'd got mine and Sonny's verses down, I obviously wanted another artist on there, but I wanted somebody who had that same sort of raw style for the track. And I don't think there's anybody out there that's more organically raw in a hip-hop sense than Rams and Bad Bones. I'd never spoken to him in the past, but I got the link up through Wizard, who was doing an EP with him at the time.
Okay.
I basically asked for his number off Wizard, got in touch with Bad Bones, and he said, yeah, track's sick, I'll get on it. So he sent me the vocals across and got Jab of the Cut to do some cuts on there. It's turned out, again, a track I'm really proud of.
Listen, I am such a genius. Red string tie up in my weed spliff got me flying higher than a G6. Jesus, I'm jamming on barbaric. I'm back in the bars, banging, I'm raising the bar so high they can't pass it. Start panicking, starstruck, just start running. Stretch for that alarm button, but you can't touch it. I rough rappers up, I pat rappers down. Bada boom, bada bing, flow no backing down.
There's a lot of big artists on this now. Like, can you tell me just about all the feature artists that you've got on here?
Yeah, I've obviously got all the Innit Records guys on there, Dan Ball, Red Eye, 777, I've got Drunken Master, Chris Lees and Jane Ellis on there. I've also got No Pretense, who are a duo from Yorkshire. I've also got Sonny Jim on there, Rams and Bad Bones, Capo, Scuff, Dr. Syntax, and I've got Lego on there as well.
Exciting people to work with.
I think that's it. Yeah, that's been brilliant. Yeah, I mean, obviously Capo, Scuff, Syntax, three of my favourite artists out there at the minute, so obviously want to work with them. And then obviously the Innit Records guys are just mates of mine, we're always working together, so.
Loud and vibrant, though not down for fighting or catching the next train to get knocked out in Brighton. For me, performing's a laugh with my friends till one of our crew gets stabbed in the neck 5 minutes after my set. It's not usually that ugly. I've met some good people all over this beautiful country where music has took me. I'm told I'm not selling as many tunes as I should be, then I try to justify it like I don't do this for money.
The next track's Forever.
Yeah, Forever was a track that I did spur of the moment. It was, I don't think I even planned it to be on this project, to be honest. It was a track that I did with a producer called Able 8 from Australia, who I have worked with in the past, and he sent me a couple of beats, one of which was the instrumental to that, and I thought it was brilliant. It's something that I've never worked with that sort of instrumental before. It's pretty glitchy, and it's just something I've never done before, and I thought it'd be interesting to have a go on it and experiment a bit. And the track came out really well, I was really happy with it, and we ended up doing a video for it as well.
Did you aim for that kind of quite different sound you got with it in the end, or was...
Well, yeah, that's what I've tried to do throughout the whole release, to be honest.
Just experiment.
Yeah, I don't really want to do a whole release of the same, the same kind of thing. So it does have, although it's not an album as such, it does have a flow to it.
Fetch the NT1, plug in the XLR. Pass me the headphones, let me just check my levels are correct. Yes, they are. Beit Nun extra large, and your system got listeners gripped as they digest my bars. I came to speak and penetrate the beat. This isn't music, this is pain relief. From artists who see me as a target they fail to meet. Able on the bleeps, fuck a flavour of the week. I'm the saviour of this failure of the scene.
So, the 7th track on the compilation is the first one featuring Jane Ellis. That's Gone.
Yeah, Gone is the first track on the release that's actually got a bit of a concept and a bit behind it, rather than the tracks before that with a lot of battle orientated and talking about myself and just boom bap hip hop. This track's got a bit of a concept behind it. It's a story about two people who get together into a relationship, but for one reason or another you just can't make it work. And I didn't want to do the standard love story track. I wanted to have a bit of a twist on it, so I do think I've done that well with that track. It's also a track which I feel has got the most commercial appeal of all the tracks on the release, and as a track it's probably my favourite on there, to be honest.
Lying, cheating, broken, bleeder, hurting my heart, so deceiver. You can't keep messing with her, you can't keep leading me on, and I gotta get away from you, 'cause the thrill is gone. Get you off of my back, that's what I will.
The 8th track is So with Chris.
Yeah, So was a track produced by a producer from Manchester called Pro P. I've worked with him in the past quite a bit, and he sent me the beat and really liked it. I wrote a verse to it, and then got to the point where I'd said everything I had to say in the track. I hit Chris Lees up for a verse on the track, and he basically agreed with what the concept was about. It's basically about when you get to a certain age, society seems to expect certain things of you. You know, you should have a mortgage, you should be settling down, this, that and the other. And it's basically a middle finger up to that whole idealistic
style of living.
See, everything in life is borrowed and I could die tomorrow. Food for thought you wouldn't like to swallow, so you just stand in the line and follow. I'd rather stand on the stage and after passing away the tracks that I write and live on. We went to school together, now you're in a career, coming out with 50 a year. I'm doing better, Ben is stress free. Your material wealth will never impress me, that's not what success means.
Live for the Moment with Syntax and Jane Ellis.
Yeah, Live for the Moment carries on the similar sort of theme to the previous tracks, so it's basically about living for the moment while you're young, and don't get too worried or too serious about, you know, things that
you're expected to.
Yeah. I hooked up with Syntax. Basically, I've met him quite a few times. Really, one of my favourite artists in the country. He'd previously done us a verse for Formax, and I basically hit him up just after that and said, "Do you want to do something on my solo stuff?" And he was feeling it, and we got it down. And obviously Jane Ellis on the chorus as well.
Who produced this one?
The producer was a producer called Andy Dexterous, who has worked with Contact Play in the past, and that's where I first heard him. I hit him up for some beats, and he sent me a beat batch, and that was one of them.
Okay, check it. Every time a hip-hop fiend saw me, they went all Oliver Twist on my ship. I've got styles locked like houses with 3 door keys. I'm known to spit lyrics, sick with it like E40. I don't mean to speak coarsely, but I'm the motherfucking dog's bollocks like I'm underneath the Queen's corgis. While teens talk breeze on how they reach for heat. Everything I spit is real talk, no make-believe stories.
Track 10, A Rich Man's World with D-Flux.
Yeah, this track wasn't actually intended for my project. It was a track that D-Flux wanted me on, and he sent me four beats, and that was one of them. And straight away we both decided that was the one we were going to do the track on. D-Flux is one of my favourite artists out there. He's a massive artist, and when he hit me up for the track I was like, definitely want to work with you. When I heard the sample, obviously it's the ABBA sample, Rich Man's World. It does work, believe it or not. But I just wanted the concept for that to be basically, I suggested the concept that one of us acts like the poor man in society and one's the rich man.
Yeah. And
how it's a rich man's world. And obviously with the sample being as it is, and with it being a quite quirky beat, we didn't want to take it too seriously with that. So it is quite, you know, it's not too serious.
Who's who?
I'm the poor guy.
Right.
So we've both gone to wild extremes with that as well.
Right.
The rich and the poor. But it's produced by a guy called Gams, who is working with D-Flux at the moment, as one of his producers. So,
okay.
But yeah, I said to D-Flux when the track was done, I said, "Do you mind if I use it?" So I just thought it was a brilliant track and it fits well with the project. So.
I was born into poverty and we couldn't afford to live properly. Mate, all that we got to eat was porridge, and our squat was the smallest of properties. The 4 of us squashed into a single bed, caused a lot of squabbling. Poor or ignored, so we often felt the force of the law when we then resorted to robbery.
Did you start out with the idea of something you wanted to create, or...?
The first track that I did, recorded for it, was a reintroduction, and that was at the time, it was a track to say, look, I'm back. To people who had already heard me previously, it was a reintroduction. To people who hadn't, it was an introduction to who I am, what I'd done, and it was just a brief insight into what I'd done previously, who I am. From doing that first track, that then spurred me on to get the rest of the project done. But it wasn't until the last 6 months, I'd say, that I actually fully got my fingers
saw it as a product.
Yeah.
I never planned to make do. I promised you all another, and look, I came through. Yo, this is what I've made you. Bet's the name, dude. For 10 years I've paid dues, sticking to the trade rules, and still I'm on that same loop.
Not For Sale. What's that about?
Not For Sale is a track, basically, just saying how you're not going to ever sell out for any amount of money. But again, I've done it with a twist. I've not gone for the stereotypical
sell out for
track.
I'm ready to sleep. I don't mean that I'm heading off to my bed to bury my head in the sheets. I'm talking about when I'm dead and deceased. Will I be happy with the records released and whatever little success I've achieved? If so, I guess I'll be resting in peace. But if not, I'm led to believe that my destiny will have never been reached. The funny thing is, the second you feel like you've excelled in your field, you notice that your integrity's breached.
12, Self-Made.
Self-Made is produced by Baron Samedi, who is a rapper slash producer from London. He sent me a beat batch, and I was looking for something a bit more mellow, something I can get a bit deeper and a bit more thought-provoking on, and that track just stood out for me.
What is the subject?
It's about how we're all products of our environment, and how being self-made doesn't necessarily mean, when you hear the term self-made, it tends to me anyway,
to be positive.
It's a positive thing. It means if someone's self-made, then they're successful and this, that and the other. I think being self-made is just how you've made yourself throughout your lifetime. And
everybody's self-made.
Yeah, and that can be a positive and that can be a negative. And the track in question, what I've tried to do is every line, try and make it quotable. And I think there's quite a lot to be taken from the track as well.
Yeah. You define who you are by what you do.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
My friends and my family come first, true, even though regrettably we're not as close as we once were. Feelings are unheard, so I make them audible by putting them to paper. I recreate them with just words. Sometimes I get in the car and I drive at night to a random location and gaze right up at the stars in the sky.
Next up is True with Dan Bull and Red Eye.
Yeah, True was a track produced by Pro P again. He sent me that beat and I wrote my verse basically about the struggle I was going through at that specific time. It was trying to juggle work with music, and basically my issue was money at that particular time. And my verse was about that, and I wanted Dan Bull on the track. Sent him the track, and his verse was about he just basically found his newfound fame on the internet, and he was talking about the hate he was getting from certain people. So the struggle that he was going through with that at the time. And I thought the verses really complemented each other well. And then I also wanted to get Red Eye on there with him being on the Innit Records roster.
Yeah.
And I thought it'd be good to have him on that track because it's not the sort of track that he would normally be on. When I sent him the beat, he said, "Oh, I don't do stuff like this," and I was like, "Well, that's all my reason to do it."
Right.
So I got him on, and I think he came with a similar sort of angle as me, the financial struggle. So the track's just about basically how you overcome the obstacles and you remain true to your art form and to yourself.
The scene's looking at me with a screw face. I've been lucky recently, my YouTube page has taken off at a phenomenally huge rate. But for every new fan, there's a new hater who never knew Dan but claims you've changed. What's with these upbeat tunes? You need to redo safe. So what, you think I'm gonna say touche? Stop making tracks for me to do what you say?
Without Love.
Yeah, Without Love is one of the more personal tracks on the release. It was recorded at a time when I had a lot of personal relationship issues going on, and Chris Lee sent me the beat, who obviously produced the track, sent me the beat, and coincidentally it just had this vocal sample in it saying, "Please don't make me a man without love," and it just went really well with what I was feeling at the time. And the track basically wrote itself. It was basically me dealing with the relationship I was in was coming to an end, and it was basically about accepting that it had come to an end. And there's a lot of self-doubt in that track as well, a lot of where I blame myself in bits of it.
Without love, where will I be without love? To feel without touch is horrible. Thus impossible to sleep without drugs. It suddenly becomes lust. I'm making it through the days like trying to breathe without lungs. Without love, where will I be without love? To feel without touch is horrible. Thus impossible to sleep without drugs. It suddenly becomes lust. I'm making it through the days like trying to breathe without lungs.
Track 15, As Deep As It Gets, featuring Treble 7 and No Pretense.
That track was initially intended for the collaborative album that me and Treble 7 were going to be doing.
Right.
We got in touch with No Pretense because I thought it'd be a good collaboration. I thought they were on a similar sort of level as where we were at the time, and I was feeling what they were doing, and I just asked them to get on board for the track. It was produced by Jabba the Cut, who does a lot of the cuts throughout the release. He's a DJ slash producer. But yeah, the track's just about being low, feeling low, and sometimes when you feel there's no light at the end of the tunnel, and you know you're in a pit that you just don't feel like you can get out of, and some days you just don't feel like getting up in the morning.
check it. I've searched for solace in the bottom of bottles. I've sought for solitude, straddling my septum to clog nostrils up. But either one of those turned out to be not what I've gotten, and neither one of them is something that's not what I wanted. The heights of hedonism heading to laughs, blindly stepping in it, heads for disaster and treading the path. It's never that glamorous. I followed my train of thought on the microphone and ended up dead in my tracks.
So, what's the plan? Where are you hoping to push it to? And
with this project, I'm trying to be as realistic as possible. I've only pressed up 300 copies of this, as opposed to 1,000 which I've done in the past. Obviously with digital downloads and everything now, there's less people purchasing music, especially on CD format. So I'm more realistic in terms of physical sales. Hopefully I can shift all 300 copies of them. I've got a few magazine articles coming up, got quite a few websites doing reviews on the project. Hopefully I'm going to be getting some more solo gigs, which I've not done for a couple of years now.
Right. Do you want to do a bit of name dropping here? Where's it available digitally and what?
It's digitally available from iTunes, Amazon, all the usual outlets.
No matter what people say, everything does not happen for a reason nor get easier, so seize the day. Best believe if you've been on the receiving end of a deceitful friend's evil intentions, I feel your pain. As humans, just look what we became, crabs in a bucket, dragging the others back till none of us achieve our aims. Succeed or fail, whatever either means. I'll never forget to be me as long as the mirror keeps reminding me.
Track 16, Mr. Arnold.
Yeah, this track is about my great-great-granddad, who it was called Mr. Arnold. That's the only thing we know about him, is his last name. He was taken down in the First World War, leaving behind my great-grandma, who was a baby at the time. And basically he was taken down in the war and he left nothing behind in terms of legacy, to the point of now where my great-grandma has now passed away. Not even his first name has been carried on. So nothing is left of his life.
Right.
And it just inspired me to think, wait, this is why I do music, to leave behind something after I'm gone. So the track itself, it was written initially as a spoken word piece. I didn't intend to ever record it. It was just written just out of inspiration at the time. But it was written in a format that could be, could be to a beat. But I didn't think any beat could really do it justice. And then Ill Skills, who obviously I've worked with previously on the record and also done the EP with, he sent me some more beats across. And this particular beat that he sent me was live drums with a very minimalistic sample behind it, and it was really atmospheric and had a really good feeling to it, and I thought it really could do the track justice. So I thought I'll give it a go and laid the vocals down, and I kept it to myself for a bit, and then once I played it to a few people were really feeling it, and the energy of it, the power of it got through to people, and it worked, so I decided to put it out.
Years later, your daughter Doris had the daughter too. Joyce, who gave birth to Andrea, who has a picture on the wall of you. And I'm Andrea's son. It's sad so little remains of your legacy, less than a century after you've gone. Cause all we know is your surname, not your first name, where you were born or when it's your birthday. Your whole life has simply been lost within time, and that's my reason for writing, so I can document mine. Mr. Arnold.
Rebirth, 17.
Rebirth is a track that I wrote when I just come out of the lowest point of my life. I've been suffering from a bit of depression, and this track was when I was just coming out the other side, and the feeling, it's like being reborn, it's like being born again. Suddenly everything else starts to make sense again. You have new ambitions, new goals, and that's what the release needed, because obviously the release to that point had come to a low point in the release, and I wanted to bring it back up again towards the end of the release. And that track was written at that time, and it just basically, it's about feeling stronger again and being reborn, and you feel like a completely new person for the better.
I said, look at me now. You were worried about me and I appreciate the concern, but oh, look how the tables have turned. Yeah, I'm a big boy now, never intimidated by anyone getting strong. Everyone is one someone forever banners on. Better today than yesterday. Best mates share memories, friendly faces, late 20s and healthy young. Some yeah, we made it. Failed relationships, heartache and pain. You can't make this up.
In Harmony, again with Jane Ellis.
In Harmony is a pretty similar track to the previous track in terms of content. It's again feeling like you've come out of the other side. This was a track that was produced by a producer that I know from Macclesfield. He goes by the name of Calibi, and he does a lot of trip hop, chill out type of ambient music. And I wanted to work with him for quite a while. Again, it's something I've never done, and I wanted to experiment a bit. And that track, the instrumental, just really just clicked with that concept. So I just carried on the story from the last track, basically, and about how everything makes sense. And I got Jane Ellis singing the chorus on that as well. And yeah, it's a good track.
And I'm not going back ever again. Just know you made the right decision when you decided not to get on that plane.
Immortality featuring Scuff, Capo and Treble 7.
Yeah, this is just a posse cut track, basically, a track where I got sent what I consider brilliant beat, good old boom bap sample based hip hop instrumental by a producer called Rise, who again is Macclesfield based, and I just wanted myself and three other sick raw MCs on there. Scuff and Capo are two of my favourite rappers in the country, and they've got that really raw organic style, and obviously Treble 7 has as well, and that was the track that Treble 7, it's the only track he's done in the last 2 or 3 years, so I got him out of semi-retirement to record that. Yeah, really happy with this track. It's got Jab of the Cut on there as well, but yeah, it's just a boom bap.
That's what they're telling me. You can tell a friend, tell an enemy, tell a family member, run, tell everyone you ever meet. I wouldn't bet on none of you stupid and many beats. Bet none sicker than the second human centipede. I let it be, cause there's no reason now to try and scam. Let the beat breathe, feel the diaphragm heaving. Me, I'll be a heathen as a dying man. I'm pure fire, see me dancing around the frying pan.
Final track on the CD is In It to Win It, and you got just all ears up on there. You got Jane Ellis, Lego, Treble 7, Red Eye, Chris Lees and Dan Bull.
Yeah, that was a track that we were all together at the same place at the same time. We'd done a show, I think, in Macclesfield, and we just got in the studio and thought, right, let's get a track done down, all of us together. And we had that beat to hand, which was a beat that was produced by Dead Man Walking, and it's an absolute slamming beat. And we just all did 8 bars each, one after the other. It was all written and recorded in one session, and it turned out to be a really slamming track. So I think we got a local guitarist by the name of Eddie Cooper in to do some guitaring as well. So it just really adds that powerful finish to the release. And yeah, it turns out to be quite an anthem.
I've been doing this too long to go back with no raps, and you know that. Most cats in the scene won't last for a week after they see what can be achieved. I'm back with the team, Dan, Chris and me. Treble 7 like a rest, crank up your speakers. You gotta hear the tracks to believe it. Dead Man Walking, thanks for the beat, kid. We've been 5 years in the making. Look where we came from, ideas on the paper to tearing up stages. Make no mistakes, still awake, not a care for the neighbours. I swear we're amazing. Middle finger up to the rest, foot on the pedal must be the best, skills put to the test. Beit Nun coming fresh on the 8 bar, there's nothing left.
It took a while to find the life and its meaning, but after years of trying, I finally see it. And you can't put a price on this feeling. Gliding this free as a bird in flight. As I reach for the sky, I'm seeing the light. Here I feed my desire to be nothing, just reason to seek something. We speak with substance on subjects deeper than love gets. The relevance of this sentence is relative, like what defines success. So none of us get it just yet, but in this moment, tomorrow's another world.